I ain't playing around this time. I'm going to blow them off. I'll blow them off right now. I'll do it. Don't play with me, boy. You know I'll do it. Won't be the first time. I'll do it later. I got to make a video first. Let's hit record and get started. I'm legally insane. And right here, hidden behind these adult-sized diapers, which you're going to want to put on, by the way, because I'm about to show you 10 PlayStation 1 bangers. These are bangers that you didn't know about. Some of them you've never even heard of. Some of them you didn't know about. And basically, if you don't have diapers on, you're going to be watching the rest of this episode at your own risk. Because I'm already wearing mine. I'm wearing my diaper all the time. When you're dealing with look behind me. You know what these are? These are all bangers. Every single one of them. Got Super Nintendo over there. I got Sony PlayStation down in the corner. I got Sega Genesis over there. I got N64 over there. I got NES over here. I got Wii U's over here. I got GameCubes down there. I got PS2s over there. Xbox 360s, PS3. I got all of it. Nintendo Wii, I got it all. Nintendo Switch, I have all of it. So we're going to be going through 10 PlayStation 1 games. I've got my diapers. Put yours on. I've given you plenty of time. Let's get started. We're starting off strong. Starting off with a heavy hitter. Tomba for the PS1. I've got this bad boy in a little bit of a case here. A protective case. Because this is one of the monster hits on the PlayStation 1. And what did I pay for this? I paid 190 Canadian dollars for this. I paid up big time. But it's still cheaper than eBay because you'd be lucky to find a good condition copy for $240 on eBay. What's this price chart for? This price chart's for, $198, but you'll never get one for that price. Plus your shipping, plus your taxes. They charge taxes now. They never used to charge taxes. Back in July of 1 year ago, they started charging tax for Canadians. So we're getting ripped off. And yeah, you'll never find a good copy for that price. You'll never get it. So price charting is used as a guide. It's not always 100% accurate. It doesn't mean that you'll actually find a copy for this price. Although on that note, there's a version of this coming out for the Nintendo Switch, so the price might come down a little bit. But it's still going to command a high value regardless, because there are people out there like me that want this classic, and they're also changing up the soundtrack. So it's not going to be the exact same game when it comes out for the Switch. I think they might be enhancing it with HD graphics. Different soundtrack though, so the OG is always going to be special for us hardcore collectors that have to wear diapers. If you're not wearing diapers, do you even have bangers? Have you even played a game like this before in your entire life? Because you probably haven't. I'm sorry, but Sesame Street for the NES was not a banger. Okay? You might be thinking, well, I played Sesame Street when I was a kid. It was a great game. I learned my ABCs. Okay, well, it's wonderful that you learned your ABCs. But Sesame Street's got nothing on Tomba. Let's open this up. How do you open this? So this game came out in 1997. And believe it or not, a lot of the PlayStation 1 classics came out between the years 1997 and 1998. The early titles, I think the developers were still learning how to make good games and program properly. Mint condition, Tomba. Look at this. CIB. This is mint. I got this from a seller that I regularly buy for in an auction group, private auction group that I can't tell you about, because then a lot of you sons of bitches will start outbidding me. Some of you are looking for deals just as much as I am. Tomba PS1. Okay, so just want to make sure I close it properly. Let's go through the history of Tomba. So what is Tomba? Tomba is a very unique game, especially for its era, 1997. It is a 2D side-scrolling platformer, adventure platformer, / Metroidvania with RPG elements. Okay? And what's interesting about this game is my first experience with this game was a friend of mine had this. And this friend of mine was one of my best friends, and we were both into the same types of games. We both loved RPGs and basically anything fantasy based. So could be action games, but you know, you've got a sword. Anything even remotely related to fantasies, ninjas, samurais, magic, casting spells, wizards, anything even remotely related to that kind of stuff. We were hardcore into that. And I would go over to his house and I would constantly see him playing this game. So he probably got it brand new, maybe in 1997. Maybe he got it for his birthday or something like that. It was one of his newer games and he was playing it for a long time. And I always thought, like, what is this? I had no interest in it at all. And I thought it was a kid's game and or for girls. And I think it was the pink hair threw me off. And the bright colors. I don't know, I just couldn't get into it back then. But I never gave it a chance. I didn't really pay any attention to it. I'd completely written it off. My child brain had immediately said, that game sucks. Let's play some other RPGs. So, I'd go over to his house, tell him to turn it off. Let's play something else. But now that I'm older, at some point in my older age, I must have seen a review on a YouTube or something, and I learned all about this game, and I learned, holy hell, this game is actually amazing, and it does fit that fantasy RPG style game. Exactly what I'm after. Metroidvania. This is my kind of jam. I didn't even know it back then. So I totally missed the boat on this. So I finally have it now. Okay, I'm older now, I have disposable income, and I'm clearly legally insane, and I spend all my money on retro games. And I'm broke. I don't have a dime to my name. Not one dime at any given time because I spend it all. I'm broke. I'm practically going to the food bank. They don't ask questions at the food bank. They don't say, excuse me, sir, do you have $100,000 worth of video games in your house? Do you spend all your money on retro games? Because, there's other people that need this food more than you do, sir. They don't ask you that. So you can go there and just say, hey, I'm looking for some Flintstone vitamins and some Frosted Flakes because I'm broke. Do you got any Cheerios? I'll take a couple boxes of Cheerios. And maybe some Mr. Noodles and a bag of spaghetti. I'll take all of it. Thank you very much. That ragu over there, throw that in the box too. Thank you. So, here's what's interesting about this game. It is one of the best games on the console, by the way. Price has been going up, by the way. But if you're thinking about buying it, I would wait and get that Nintendo Switch version, to be honest. I wouldn't. It's going to be hard to recommend paying the $200 to $300 for this right now. I would wait and see what happens to the price after the Switch game comes out. That's some honest advice, and that's good advice from a guy who's legally insane, spends all his money on retro games. So take notes. I'm doing you a favor here. So you want to know what makes this game so good? I did some digging. I found out why it's so good. So it turns out that the creator of this game, I wrote this down, is an ex-Capcom director. He left Capcom to make this game. Okay, his name was Tokuro Fujiwama. I don't know. I can't read my chicken scratch. Okay, Tokuro Fujiwara, something like that. All you need to know is that this was a top dog at Capcom. One of the top dogs, one of their best employees. And you think I'm exaggerating, but I'm gonna show you that I'm not exaggerating. He was probably the top dog at Capcom. You know why that is? He directed basically every heavy hitter on the entire Capcom that Capcom had ever made up until 1997. And I'm just going to list a few. He was the director for Bionic Commando, DuckTales, Willow, these are NES gems by the way, Chip and Dale 1 and 2, Breath of Fire, Super Nintendo number 1 and 2, Breath of Frickin' Fire. That was Capcom's entry into becoming one of the RPG gods. Okay, if it weren't for Breath of Fire, they wouldn't have their name on RPGs in general. He directed Mega Man 2, Mega Man 3, Mega Man 4, Mega Man 5, Mega Man 6, Mega Man X, Mega Man X2, and Mega Man X3. How about that? Oh, and he played a key role in Resident Evil. And so once Resident Evil finished, that's actually when he quit. He left the company immediately. He went on vacation and then resigned. So he was there to help them with Resident Evil, make one of the greatest masterpieces of all time, and then he was out of there because he wanted free reign to make a game all his own with nobody telling him, oh, you can't do this or you can't do that. No. He was able to make everything he wanted. He mixed all these genres together. Platformers, Metroidvanias, RPG elements. He threw it all in together. Adventure game, great story. He threw it all together. And he made Tomba. So a guy like that is the Leonardo da Vinci of video games. People who make video games, these game developers, these game directors, these people are artists. They're modern Leonardos. They're modern Michelangelos. And that's what, it's like, you know, who do you want to make the art for your house? Do you want Leonardo da Vinci to make the art? Or do you want some homeless guy on the street corner downtown, downtown by the 7-Eleven that you pay $5 to make your art? Who do you think is going to make better art? That's this guy right here. It's Leonardo da Vinci. He's going to make better games than the homeless guy. That's how it works. These artists don't get the respect they deserve in the video game industry, although they're starting to gain more respect now. But certain artists make nothing but bangers. They don't know how to make anything that's not a straight-up masterpiece. This guy is clearly not capable of making bad games. Go look at his list of games that he's made. He's never made a bad game in his entire life. So yeah, add Tomba to your list. Okay, next up, I got a freaking steal of a deal. I'm going to jail soon. It's only a matter of time before they lock me up. I got one of the biggest steals I've ever gotten in my entire life. I got a lot of steals, you know. It's not the biggest. I've gotten way bigger steals than this. But basically, what I've done here is theft. So I got a PS1 bundle. I paid $60 Canadian. I'll show you everything that it came with. I got the box right here. Came in this box, shipped to my door, with all the games, because I wait until I have like $500 worth of games and before I get them shipped from a seller. So this is part of what I got from this particular seller, and this particular part of the bundle was $60. So it came with a third-party controller. This is a PlayStation 1. Came with 2 controllers. Okay. 2 controllers. OG, is this DualShock? This must be DualShock, I do believe. Because DualShocks were the... Yeah, this is PS1 DualShock controller. I mean, that's got to be worth more than a regular PS1 controller. DualShock was a big freaking deal back in the day, man. When I got my DualShocks, all my friends were jealous that I had the DualShocks. And basically, they all wanted to use that controller when they would come over so that they could feel the rumble, try out the analog, and I never gave them a chance. Screw you, buddy. Get your own DualShock controller. You get the second player controller. Third-party piece of garbage. That's what you get, buddy. You want to come to my house and play my video games? You get the garbage. Look, it's missing the battery covers at the back. That's what you get. When you come to my house, that's what you get. And that's part of the reason I whoop you in every game that we play, because I make sure that you have the crummy controller. I ain't playing games. When it comes to two-player competitive head-to-head matches, I don't play around. I don't care who you are. I don't care how old you are. You bring your 3-year-old sister over here, doesn't even know her ABCs, doesn't even know her shapes. Hey, you got to push the X button to shoot. Well, not my problem you don't know your shapes. I just wrecked you. 0 damage for me. All 10 of your lives gone. Deathmatch, done. Duke Nukem, done. I don't play around. So, came with the console. This is my first time opening it. Live opening. Sony PlayStation. Came with a memory card, hookups, more hookups, and oh yeah, that third-party controller is actually wireless. That's kind of cool. It did come with another memory card, but I already moved that one out of the way because I'm keeping that one. Now, games that it came with are Duke Nukem, Time to Kill. And by the way, I'm selling this PlayStation. So it came with Duke Nukem, Time to Kill, Tenshi, number 1, OG number 1, Stealth Assassin. And it also came with Twisted Metal 3. These are all CIBs. Twisted Metal 3 also has a copy of Tony Hawk, Pro Skater 3 in it. Although I'm fairly certain this doesn't work. I got my neighbor yelling at me, so I got to keep my voice down. So this one doesn't work. I don't think it works. I got to test it. It's a little bit scratched up. Looks kind of beat up. So if it doesn't work, whatever. I'll just throw it out. Twisted Metal 3. This is going to be part of the bundle, especially because it's not quite CIB. Some idiot cut out the UPC code. I guess maybe you could trade that in and get a reward or something from Sony. I don't know why somebody would do that. It's kind of interesting. I'd like to know what the purpose of that was. So Twisted Metal 3, the memory card, 2 controllers. That's all going with the bundle. Tony Hawk 3. It's all getting sold. And just to show you what these are worth, CIB Twisted Metal 4, price charts for $23.16. Duke Nukem Time to Kill, price charts for $17.20. So about $20, Duke Nukem. Tenshi, price charts for $19.86, about $20 Canadian. $40 right here. $60 right here. All 3 of these games alone are worth 60 smackers. Plus Tony Hawk, that's worth about $9 loose, assuming it works. So if you add all those together, it's about $60 to $70 worth of games. But then I got a DualShock controller, a wireless third-party controller, and a console. So I'm going to sell the console with Twisted Metal 3 and Tony Hawk 3, and I might throw in one of my Gran Turismo number 1s. I have 2 copies of that. I'm going to throw one of those in to this bundle. I'm going to create this bundle, and I'm going to try and get $70 locally, and I guarantee you it'll sell. I guarantee you. Actually, I might even go 75. I bet you somebody will still buy it. You're getting 2 controllers, console. I mean, this alone is going to cost you $25 on eBay, and I'm not going to take pictures of the back. It's a local purchase. You don't need to be all that specific. Comes with a memory card. Like, you're not going to get a better deal. So I'm going to sell it all for $75. So I just got myself $15 in my pocket, a free memory card that has more space than this, and it's Sony brand, the one that I took out of the package. 2 free CIB games that I didn't have. And by the way, Duke Nukem Time to Kill is a third-person Tomb Raider style shooter game. Okay, third person. Came out in 1998. It's probably the most underrated Duke Nukem game ever made. It is not the best Duke Nukem game ever made. That's Duke Nukem 64 for the N64. 2-player co-op campaign. And basically it's Tomb Raider with, like, literally Tomb Raider. It might even have been the same game engine. Like, they basically copied Tomb Raider. Same jumping mechanics, same action shooting mechanics, same movement. It's Tomb Raider, but with less exploration and more action, more shooting. In fact, the developers even dubbed it, what did they call it? Interesting factoid, they said due to its similarity to Tomb Raider during development, they called the game, so they were internally calling the game Duke Raider. It's got 2-player death matches too, by the way. It's got some really unique deathmatch mechanic where you can get, I forget the exact specifics, but you can get like a special item. It'll give you a special gun and it'll spawn all these enemies that you then have to kill. And if you actually kill them all and manage to survive, you get the weapon permanently or something like that. So it's really cool, but you know, it's only 2-player death matches. It's not like you can do 4-player. So the 2-player, you don't get a game like this for 2-player, for death matches. No, Duke has never been a deathmatch game. In my opinion, Duke has always been good, great single-player campaigns and 2-player co-op campaign.
Come on. Piece of cake.
Oh, dude.
Yeah, and the other game, Tenshi, came out in 1998, and it's the very first 3D stealth game ever made. It's not known for being the best Tenshi game, but it is very unique and was very advanced for its time. Okay, the only complaint that people have with this game is the draw distance, which is more of a PlayStation 1 hardware problem. You know, the game was only capable of so much, but I think it worked because the game you're playing at nighttime, so it actually kind of matches. But they say, you know, because the draw distances was so hard, it was so much harder to sneak up on your opponents, which is what you're supposed to be doing. And if you're constantly getting seen as you try to sneak up on them, then it turns into an action game rather than a stealth game. I rented this back in the day. So I never owned this back in the day. I have played it. It was a rental. I don't remember much other than I remember it kind of being groundbreaking. I remember schoolyard talk. We would talk with friends about this game because it was so unique and original at the time. And what we thought was really cool was obviously the sneak up kills where it would show like a cinematic kill animation if you sneak up on your opponent. That was kind of your reward for, hey, you really do need to be attempting to do these kills stealthily. But, you know, you could run up on the roofs. Like, they really tried to make you feel like you're ninja. You had a grappling hook. And we used the grappling hook. You'd go in first-person mode. So you're running around along these rooftops as if you're some real-life ninja. So, very underrated game. But obviously, Tenshi number 2 is better. So if you're looking for a PlayStation 1 Tenshi, definitely number 2. And there's a ton of good Tenshi games on the PlayStation 2. So they really start to get good on the PlayStation 2. But this is not a bad game. You know, if somebody tries to bash it, you tell them it's not a bad game. It's a good game. It's a product of its time. It's not freaking perfect. We're talking PlayStation 1, 1998 here. Okay, we're not talking Xbox 360. So this right here, this is what we call a banger, okay? This was a banger back in the day. Greatest hits, sold over 1 million copies. You think this game would sell over 1 million copies if it wasn't a good game? Okay, next up we got, speaking of Gran Turismo, I also got Gran Turismo 2, and I paid $3 for this, by the way. That's why I'm going to jail. Another reason I'm going to jail soon, because this price charts for over about $19.73. Sold listings on eBay going between $25 and $30 quite commonly, okay? So, yeah. I'd say I'm more than happy to pay $2 or $3, sorry. And in case you didn't notice, this is CIB, Gran Turismo number 2. So I already own number 1. When I was bidding on this, I couldn't remember if I had number 2 or not. And luckily I don't. And what's interesting about this is one of these was, I think it was Gran Turismo number 1. I borrowed from my friend back in the day. He was the one telling me about it. This game was mind-blowing. I think it was the very first simulation racer. That simulation mode, realistic racer. You're upgrading your car. Like every part on the car that you could imagine was upgradable. It was just unbelievable. You really noticed the difference between the cars as you progressed. Like some old crummy car did not race like a totally souped up car. Okay, they were noticeably different. Every part that you added to the car made the car feel different. It did something noticeably different. And Gran Turismo 2, I do remember my brother bought this. And I didn't play this one, I don't think. I think it was just number 1 that I played. So I'm happy to add this to my collection. And by the way, any Gran Turismo game, I know that they're all good, but anything beyond number 2 for the PS1, I don't have any interest in. This is where it's at. GT1, GT2. That's where it's at. I don't care for any other Gran Turismo game. I don't care. Project Gotham Racing, a competitor to the Gran Turismo series, I do care about that. I love Project Gotham Racing. But when it comes to Gran Turismo, I don't care. Screw your PS2 Gran Turismos. Screw your PS3 Gran Turismos. Screw your PS4 and your PS5s. I don't give two craps about your PS4 or your PS5. I don't even know if they're still making these games, but they probably are. I don't care about them. This is where it's at. This is the real banger. Get your PS5 Gran Turismos out of here. We don't deal with no PS5 on this show. All right? We're dealing retro and Nintendo Switch. All right, guys. Holy hell. Now might be a good time if you need to change your diaper. Now's the time to do it. You got about 10 seconds. Hit pause, change your diaper, get a fresh one. Get a fresh one ready. Extra absorbent. These are for men. These aren't boy diapers. These aren't for babies. These are for men. Xenogears, PlayStation 1. Holy hell. I paid $120 for this. Where's the price? Where's price starting price? Price charts for 180 smackers. Between 170, 180, you'd be hard pressed to get it for under 200. Plus, you got to pay taxes. Well, I don't pay taxes. I'm getting these in private auction groups. And this is a trustworthy seller. I've gotten a lot of games from this guy. He's never screwed me. Great, and he's always got everything in great condition. He actually owns a store over in, well, I'm not going to tell you where, but it's in the province of British Columbia. He has a store because I don't want you trying to buy his games. Hey, man, getting deals is hard. It's hard to get deals in 2023, all right? So if you find a supplier that's willing to give you deals, you don't tell anyone about that. Look, he even put the padding in for the shipping. Okay, Xenogears. Oh my gosh. If you don't know about Xenogears, you've been living under a rock. But although to this day, it's a bit of a hidden gem. This is a Squaresoft RPG, turn-based RPG, but there's something real unique about this game. Couple of things that make this stand out. Okay, and I should mention this was definitely one of the lesser bought. Didn't sell as well as no Final Fantasy games, that's for sure. Because I only knew one kid that had this game. And I wouldn't have even known about it if he didn't tell me about it. It may still be greatest hits, but it's Squaresoft. Of course it's greatest hits. Of course they sold a crap ton. But it didn't sell anywhere near Final Fantasy, I'll tell you that. I don't even need to look at the numbers to know that. So the first thing you're going to want to know about this game is it was originally planned to be a sequel to Chrono Trigger. And they quickly changed it and it became its own game. So it's not a sequel to Chrono Trigger in any way. It became its own original freestanding game. But when they were first building this, they thought that they were going to build a Chrono Trigger sequel. The second thing that you should know about this game, the most famous thing about this game is the second disc. Everyone bashes the second disc. I won't give too much away. I'll just tell you what everyone already knows anyway. The second disc, they rushed the second disc. They had to meet deadlines. The developers screwed up. They were inexperienced. They fell behind. They had to meet the deadline to get the game out, and they had to rush the second disc. First disc is a masterpiece. Second disc, they had to rush it. There's barely any gameplay. It's all cutscenes and story. They had to wrap up the story. They had to wrap it up fast. So by the time you get to the second disc, the game basically turns into narration and cutscenes. Which you know what, in my old age, I don't mind that. I prefer that. I'm playing visual novels these days. I'm playing Steins Gate. Friggin' awesome game. Nintendo Switch, Steins Gate. Oh my gosh, beautiful game. It's a friggin' visual novel. There's no combat. And I love it. I love it that way. I'm so, nice and relaxed as I play. I play it before I go to bed. I fall asleep in my chair. I save the game. I go to bed. So, okay, so how I know about this game is my friend had this back in the day, and he was telling me about it for months. Probably the entire time he was playing the game. And he was trying to get me to go out and buy it. But at the time, I couldn't get into it because I wasn't into like sci-fi and mechs. This is a sci-fi RPG. And at the time, I wasn't into sci-fi. I only liked fantasy. So I didn't give it a chance. I completely ignored it. And this one particular time, he even brought me over to his house. He was really trying to sell me on the game. And holy hell, he did show me something that was really interesting. He showed me this battle arena mode in the game. What's it called? I think I wrote it down. It's called the Xenogears Battle Arena. So I guess there's a battle arena in the game. It's a fighting game within the game. So it's a game within the game. It's a mini game. But it's a fighting game. It's basically a fighting game. And you got like 20 different mechs that you can choose from or fight. And I think you can even do 2-player. Don't quote me on that. But I think you can have a second controller control the opponent. And it's a 3D fighting game with mechs. It's not turn-based RPG at that point. It actually turns into a friggin' 3D running around the arena, shooting each other, punching each other. A full-on fighting game. It's with like amazing graphics on top of that. It's really freaking mind-blowing stuff. And that's just the mini game. It's not even the game. But yeah, this game is famous for having a great story. And I haven't played it. It's on my bucket list. I'm going to beat this game. It's on my bucket list. And also, by the way, there's rumors that Squaresoft is going to remaster this game. And I hope they do, because if they ever remaster it, they'll probably redo the second disc entirely and make it playable rather than, you know, an extra 10 or 20 hours of playable combat. To get I don't know what they'll do. They'll have to from the ground up complete everything on that second disc, which would be really interesting, and it would make the game that much newer and give that much more incentive to buy the game for those that have the original. So I hope they do that. That'll be very interesting. Oh, okay. Speaking of Squaresoft games, next up we got Final Fantasy Anthology. And what did I pay for this? I paid $16. Now, this is the greatest hits version, which I did not realize at the time of purchase that there's a difference between the greatest hits version and the black label. So although I still got a good deal, I paid $16. Price charts for $25 to $35. But the greatest hits version sucks because you don't get the soundtrack. And I remember I had the soundtrack back in the day because I had the black label version. So the difference is, you'll see it's 2 discs, but over here there's no slot to put a disc here. But if you had the black label one, this would be where the soundtrack goes. And on the black label version, it'll also tell you at the back that it includes a soundtrack, and it doesn't say that here. So I thought that was very interesting. I'm still more than happy to have it. Hell, maybe I'll throw it in with the bundle, with the PS1 bundle when I sell it. Because I think this is actually a double, to be honest. Yeah, I think it's a double. So, hell, maybe I'll throw it in that PS1 bundle and I'll add an extra $20. Try and get $95. Hell, I'll take $90 bucks for all of it. I think it's still a freaking good deal. So I really wanted the soundtrack though, because guess what? I actually used to listen to that soundtrack. I used to work at Little Caesars Pizza. I was the assistant manager. They paid me extra 50 cents an hour to be the assistant manager. Yeah, 50 cents. They did that because they were desperate for someone to do closing shifts, and only assistant managers could do closing shifts, and I was desperate for money so that I could buy myself some retro video games. So I accepted, and I would always be there late at night. And of course, there's no customers late at night, so I would play music in the CD player, and I would listen to this soundtrack. It's got Final Fantasy V and Final Fantasy VI. Final Fantasy VI, of which has the best soundtrack of any soundtrack ever made, and it is the best music ever made. Better than Beethoven, better than Bach, better than Dr. Dre, better than friggin' Tupac, better than Snoop Dogg, better than any garbage that you listen to. Final Fantasy VI is the best music ever made. Okay, it's better than Van Halen. It's better than Led Zeppelin. Oh, Led Zeppelin is one of the best rock bands of all time. Yeah, buddy. Have you listened to Final Fantasy VI, the soundtrack? Yeah, Led Zeppelin's got nothing on Nobuo Uematsu, the guy who composed Final Fantasy VI soundtrack, along with many other Final Fantasy music, old school Final Fantasy music. And guess what? Unlike Led Zeppelin, who had a full freaking like orchestra that he was able to work with, electric guitars and stuff, Nobuo Uematsu was working with a 16-bit sound chip on a Super Nintendo, and he still did a better job than Led Zeppelin. Yeah, how about that? what do we got next? What are we at here? That was number 8, I think. So number 9, we got Hercules. This is a Disney game, but it wasn't made by Capcom. Now I got this because I got a good deal on it, and I only just found out about this game maybe a couple years ago. Or like I knew about it, but I didn't know it was good. I'd never paid any attention to it. And it turns out this is one of the all-time greats. One of the all-time greats. It's a side-scrolling action game. A little bit of platforming. But what makes this so good, it's so interesting because it's made in that classic Disney-style game made from Capcom from the 16-bit era. So remember classics like Lion King, Aladdin, specifically Aladdin, I guess. That's what this would be compared to. This is a 32-bit version of what one of those games would look like if they had upgraded it to the PlayStation 2, given it better graphics, that sort of thing. Better color palette. That's this game right here. This is your monster hit Disney game, but for the 32-bit consoles. PlayStation 1. And, you know, probably it didn't get the respect it fully deserved because this was the era when everyone was wanting 3D games and 2D games weren't cool anymore. They're cool now. Like we've come back around. We've come full circle. 2D side-scrolling games are awesome now. But around this era, the gamers were demanding 3D. That was the new cool thing. So if you had a 2D side-scrolling game, it wasn't as cool anymore. But this game did really, really well. I know it was popular. And they did a really good job on it. It's a great game. Highly recommend this game. I wish I knew about this game back in the day. I would have loved to have this game. Classic fantasy-based side-scrolling action platformer. It's not too difficult. You can beat it. I don't like overly difficult games. Not anymore. Not in my old age. So I like a game like that. Alright, last up, number 10. Oh man, this is an interesting game. I only just found out about this when the seller posted it. This is Wipeout XL. I had never heard of this before in my entire life until the guy posted it. And I said, holy hell. What the hell is this? And I practically blew my balls off right then and there. Almost picked up a gun and said, holy hell, I gotta blow my balls off. I gotta do it. I almost did it. I didn't even have the game yet. I was just bidding on the game. I didn't even start bidding on the game. And I almost blew my balls off. So I looked it up. Oh yeah, by the way, CIB, it even came with this little card here. That might be worth something. I haven't checked. 2-player, but we don't care about 2-player. So this is basically Wipeout number 1. This is the expansion to Wipeout number 1, although they didn't call it an expansion. So if this was a PC game, this would be the expansion that just adds on to your already existing game. Okay, but because this isn't a PC game, and for whatever reason they decided not to do an expansion, and they decided, okay, let's do a standalone game, but although it's a standalone game, it's an expansion of the first game, meaning new tracks, improved ship handling, and new weapons. That's all it is. It's Wipeout number 1. It is the sequel, so this is officially, technically speaking, this is Wipeout 2. But they called it Wipeout XL to try to, I guess, partially treat it as an expansion. I don't know why they did that. It's really weird. But for whatever reason, they decided to make an expansion, but call it a standalone game. I paid $11 frickin' for this. 11 smackers. Price charts for over $30. Mint condition, by the way. Absolutely gem mint. Gem mint. You know who likes gem mint games? Your mother loves gem mint games. She's coming over to my house all the time. I show her the gem mint games. We play all night. Next weekend, I'll probably have her over. Little Wipeout XL. It's extra large. That's what it stands for. She loves extra large. Everything. XL. XL diapers. Large/XL. There's a reason I need large diapers. I think you know why. Same reason your mother loves extra large games. Okay, so here's what's interesting about this game. For those who don't know about Wipeout, it was a monster hit when it came out. Very early release. I think this one even came out in 1996. Yeah, very early release still. The original Wipeout was a monster hit. It's basically Mario Kart mixed with an F1 racing style. And you go fast. Really fast. It's famous for its speed, sharp frickin' turns, and weapons and power-ups. So it's very unique, and you're obviously flying space ships, if you didn't know. Okay, you're flying spaceships. And in this version, I think in this version, they made it so that you can actually eliminate your opponent entirely. So you can damage somebody's ship to the point that they actually blow up, but you can repair your ship. So if you happen to get very damaged, you can do a pit stop and repair yourself. Kind of like F1 racing, you're going in for a pit stop, right? Although if you go in for a pit stop, you're going to fall behind by a couple of seconds. So there's pros and cons. But yeah, very good game. New weapons, new tracks, new everything. Great freaking game. If you didn't know about this game, you might want to pick it up. I also got Wipeout 3. So basically I have all the Wipeouts now because I'm not getting Wipeout number 1 because this is the upgraded Wipeout number 1. And if you knew about this game, good for you because I had no idea. I had no idea. And I got a friggin' steal of a deal, mint condition. I get the deals. I don't buy unless I get a deal. Sometimes I get screwed though, by the way. But I get more deals than I get screwed. And by the way, I might as well show you one more pickup. I did get this sick Naruto hat. $5. 5 smackers. This is a thick, very thick, high quality material. I might keep it. I haven't decided. I might sell it on eBay. I don't know yet. I'll probably check eBay, see how much I think I can maybe get for it. If I can get $40, I'll probably sell it on eBay for sure. If I can get 30, I might consider keeping it. Anything under 20, I will definitely just keep it. But 30 or 40 or $50, I'll definitely be selling it. Guys, if you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing to the channel. I'm trying to get to over 9,000 subscribers before they put me in jail. Alright, they're trying to put me in jail. I might even be in jail by the time you see this video. So, if you want to support the channel, consider subscribing, share it with a friend or two, share it with your mother. The faster we get to over 9,000 subscribers, the faster I'll be doing my over 9,000 subscriber special, where I bring someone's mother on the show. One of you fans out there, one of the subscribers, I'll bring your mother here on the show. That's my over 9,000 subscriber special. It's coming up soon.